different. It really is. This one's different. We've messed up before. Messed up before this. This week alone. This is different. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Cardinals 5, Pirates 3 last night before a nearly empty PNC Park. It was, in fairness, really cold, getting down below the 30s. But Paul Skeens pitched. Only 8,200 tickets were even sold for the event. Roughly 3/4 of those who bought the tickets or otherwise acquired them didn't come. A hearty few of those who did let out more of those sell the team chants, and I mean loud and together. If you happened to hear yesterday's show, you'd know that I didn't see any of that coming. I thought there'd be somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 tickets sold. I thought you'd see at least, 14 or 15 brave the weather and show up because it's Skeens. And honestly, I thought we would have heard the last of those chants until the next big crowd when you can really get something going. Wrong, and wrong on my part. All three of those. And you know what? Maybe I'll be wrong about what I'm about to say, but I don't think so. For anyone who isn't mired in a figurative cave somewhere, you picked up on the news that those Bucko bricks that had gone missing over the winter, the ones that lined the sidewalks all around PNC Park, turned up yesterday in a trash heap in Reserve Township, about 4 or 5 miles up the Allegheny River from here in downtown Pittsburgh. Photos were taken of these very familiar bricks. You could make out some of the names and imprints on them, just stacked up in these massive, ugly, crumbled piles. Those were submitted to a local TV station. They made it onto the air. From there, they made it onto social media. From there, they made it to everywhere. And this, in turn, prompted yet another one of those team statements which are becoming commonplace anymore, trying to explain why they screwed something up, such as the Roberto Clemente thing earlier in the week, which I actually didn't have that much of a problem with. The only issue I would have taken with the way the Pirates handled that is that they needed to communicate with the family. They needed to communicate with the fans better. They acknowledged that themselves. Okay, whatever. That thing was there for 2 years. But this one won't go away. If you don't know what the bricks are, I'm going to start by telling you that my wife and I got one. This was 5 years before I was covering the team. I was just a baseball fan like anybody else. And we were living in an apartment complex about a block and a half away from the construction site for PNC Park. We watched it come out of the ground. That was a long-standing 2-year experience I'll never forget. I was so happy the sport was being saved in our city. I was so happy it would be right up against our downtown where it would benefit the heart and soul of our region. I was so happy it was going to connect us to the water in a way that we've never really been connected because of all the mills and the rail lines and everything else. It was so perfect. And anybody who lived through that time, whether you were down here or not, you'll know what I'm talking about, because the first time you laid eyes on the place, or when you came to those 2 exhibition games against the Mets, or you came for the opener against the Reds, and you went in there, and looked around and looked over at our gorgeous downtown skyline and looked around at a pure ballpark that was not some sterile circle that would be interchangeable with another sport. It's hard to describe, even now that the thing's been there for 25 years. Those bricks were a part of that. Those bricks became a part of people's lives. the names that were put on these whenever you would buy one, and they were $150 for the square ones, $75 for the rectangles, and most chose to etch in the names of family members, loved ones, war heroes, or just themselves. That's what me and my wife did. We just wanted our names there somewhere near one of the statues so that our kids, when they would come to the ballpark someday, would see forever. So we thought that we had one tiny, tiny, tiny little piece of that place. And ours, because we were really early in the process, was over by the Hannes Wagner statue, the main entrance at the intersection of General Robinson and Mazeroski Way. I could tell you right now, in my mind's eye, exactly where our brick was. My kids could tell you where it was. The stories that we've heard from people at our site at DK Pittsburgh Sports, theirs will just not tug at your heartstrings, but rip them out. Mine that I just shared is nothing of the kind by comparison. So, yeah, one of those statements went out. And this statement, unlike the Clemente one that took everything back and we're going to fix it and we're going to make it right, this one just doubled down. This one just said, hey, this plan that we have, we're going to do something different. Something special, something vertical was the word that was used in this statement, in which they still didn't feel like it was anybody's responsibility to share what that is. It's not like they don't know. And oh, by the way, if they don't know and they still went ahead with this destruction, then that's even worse. I mean, think about it. Because, they clearly didn't. The vertical thing, whatever it is that they're either imagining or planning, isn't gonna cut it. Having this occur without accountability, real, visible accountability, isn't gonna cut it. This is different. I have seen, heard, and read the response from fans over the past 24 hours. This is different. A professional sports franchise, a Major League Baseball franchise, allowed for a situation in which there could be photographs of bricks that were committed by their fans to this stadium, to this team, and by the way, monetarily, to the Clemente Foundation. And those bricks had and have, as we see, so much sentimental value to so many people. And there's an image of these things being destroyed. I mean, not to be that guy, but if I was executing an idea this insanely idiotic, the very least I would have done was to ensure that these bricks would be taken like to Nebraska or something where they could be put into a trash heap and nobody would know what they are and nobody would take a picture and nobody would send it to the local TV station. But they didn't even think that far ahead. When I tell you guys on a regular basis that of all of Bob Nutting's failings as an owner, the payroll doesn't even crack the top 10, and you laugh at me or you think I'm, for whatever reason, defending the payroll or whatever. This is what I mean. Maybe everyone will start believing me. If he was an owner who would do the right thing here, he would walk into 115 Federal today, gather all the relevant parties into the same area, and to tell them, not ask, not invite suggestions or anything of the kind. I would tell them, you are putting those bricks back. You are recreating them in their original form, and you are putting them back exactly the way they were. Now, before anybody leaves this room to begin that task, I want to know whose idea this was. I want to know who okayed it from there. I want to know who considered all of the possible ramifications. I want to know who communicated all of this to our fan base. Oh, wait, that was nobody. I want to know who thought it was a smart thing to replace those bricks, the existing sidewalk, with just standard white cement that even the lamest suburban CVS wouldn't approve around this stadium that we're all allegedly so proud of? Who would do that? Just isolate on that part of it alone. The cheapest, blandest white cement was put there in its place. And then from there, as long as the St. Louis Cardinals are in town, I want someone here to ask one of their management reps, why is it that Busch Stadium can sustain these bricks year after year? I've been there, my friends. I've been to Busch Stadium many, 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 many times, the new Busch Stadium. The bricks are identical. They even use the same font, the same typeface. They might be done by the same company for all I know. The Cardinals take care of theirs. The Cardinals don't cheap out and replace them with plain white cement and allow for a scenario like this. This one's bad. This one's not going to just fade away. This isn't Frank Coonley saying something stupid. This isn't running out of hot dog buns. This isn't the Clemente thing. This is bad. This needs to get fixed, and it needs to get fixed all the way. When we come back, J1Q.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragechek.org. That's gunstoragechek.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Today's J1Q comes from Nick Powers. Before I get to it, that opening segment ran a lot longer than these usually do. I apologize for that. I apologize for those who time their commute to work or their dog walk or their exercise routine to these shows. I've thrown you off today, so I'll try to keep the J1Q answer a little bit shorter than usual. Nick asks, DK, I can't help but think this, but are they intentionally getting the public apathetic to try and not renew the lease after 2030? Nick, in a normal circumstance, I come back with something that's really emphatic about how a team can't be moved. And the Pittsburgh Baseball Club has been here since 1882. And it's the franchise of Clemente and Wagner and Stargell. And how impossible it is to move these things anyway if you look around at, my goodness, what it took for the A's to move. That's not going to happen. That wouldn't happen if Bob Nutting wanted it to, and he doesn't. The Pirates actually have a very, very, very good situation in Pittsburgh. Meaning, potentially, of course. You have how many teams that are looking for a decent place to play right now in the majors? The Pirates have the best place, even when they're trying to make it lesser than that. So this is a non-subject. That's the best answer that I can give to this all the time. It's a non-subject. However, your thought process that leads to this, it makes me think about, what if Larry David was running the franchise? What if this was just one big episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm? What if every episode of Curb was about some other thing that would get screwed up? And it would get screwed up so badly that all you're looking forward to with the next episode is, wow, how can they possibly top that? Bum, 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 ba-dun, da-dun, da-dun, da-dun. Only this isn't funny. There are a lot of people in our community and really around the world, if you think about who would follow the Pirates, who've invested time, who've invested money, and above all, who invested emotion, real live emotion into the franchise, or their experiences, their shared experiences with loved ones, with their own kids, with their parents, with their grandparents. You know, the people whose names are getting crushed in that trash heap out in Reserve Township right now. I appreciate the question, Nick. I appreciate what you're going for there. I appreciate everybody who listens to this program and somehow sticks with this woe-begone franchise. Do another one of these tomorrow.